Hello actors! In this video, I'm going to be sharing a couple of different websites you should be familiar with so that you can have all of your credentials put out there for the world to see so that you can find yourself some auditions. I'm going to break down a couple of the top acting websites that you can go to in order to just get yourself out there, find auditions, self-submit, and get started. Like really get started. Because if you do, I want you to leave a comment and say, "Thanks, Monica," and I'll be like, "You're welcome." So first things first, why do these websites matter? So a lot. Pinto! My cat's trying to tear up my couch and I'm sick of it. Directors and casting agents very rarely just find you walking down the street one day. They're gonna find you through these online platforms to where they can look through all of your credentials, they can look through your resume, your headshots, demo reel, and decide whether or not they want you to audition for their project. So having a profile on all these different sites can really help make a difference as far as when you're getting started. First things first, I think a lot of people when they're starting this journey are familiar with Backstage. I've used Backstage a couple of times and I've even done a couple promotions for them before. They post so many different casting calls daily, from actual shows, background, indie films, commercials, you name it, they probably have it up there. I think I've even seen some modeling stuff up on there too. You can create a full profile and they can even kind of sort out the different roles that would fit you according to whatever your typecast is or whatever height, ethnicity, etc. that you are. And it is a subscription-based website. I think it's 100% worth it if you're just getting started, because that way you can kind of get acclimated and see what's out there, especially when it comes to indie projects. Next is one that is very commonly used, especially when it comes to agents. This is going to be casting networks. Again, this is another site where you just fill out all of your information, have your headshots, have a complete profile, and they can send you through your email regularly the different roles. I know for me personally as a model, through my agent, they send me a lot of stuff. The next one is very, very imperative, Actors Access. I've gotten, my first time out in LA was because of me self-submitting for a role for a TV show. I remember many moons ago, before Dune started filming, I was able to see the audition and the casting call for Dune. It was Zendaya's role. I forget the character's name. Shawnee. So you can see a lot of, especially for some of these open casting calls or these opportunities to audition for Disney, CBS will have these spotlight series where you can submit a monologue or something to them, and it gives you the opportunity to be seen. So I would say Actors Access, out of the three I've listed, is probably one of the better ones to have. You don't need a subscription off the bat, which is why I like it. But if you want to have a subscription so you don't have to pay to play, which is kind of what they call it, since if you don't have a subscription, you pay per submission. But if you're a regularly working actor, or if you just know you're just going to be submitting all the time to all the roles you see, it's worth it to get the subscription. So I love this one because you can see a lot of real network television and film productions that are going on and have the chance to audition for them. A lot of you, if you see open casting calls, which I would post a lot on my TikTok, a lot of them will use Actors Access, or it'll be an Actors Access link that they use to kind of go through something called EcoCast. So again, there is a small fee per submission, but if it's an open casting call, you don't need to pay that fee typically. So I think it's just worth it. This is another one I'm not all too familiar with myself, but I may start looking at more frequently, is Mandy Network. I'm someone who has dual citizenship, and I've noticed a lot of UK actors or even actors in Europe use Mandy Network to find casting calls that way. I know I talk a lot about the US market, but there's also a huge market in the UK and Europe as well. And the Mandy Network seems to be one of the platforms that is typically used a lot. It seems like a really great way to just get started when it comes to networking, finding commercial work, finding corporate work. So if you're interested in looking at some international projects as well, I think the Mandy Network would be really good. Now, I mentioned the UK earlier. I have my very own Spotlight account. I love Spotlight just for the fact that you don't need to pay to play. And that's what I've kind of noticed for a lot of overseas roles, which no shade to the other ones, but Spotlight is great because you can upload all your photos without having to pay for it. Casting networks and Backstage, they're not bad, but a lot of it is what's called pay to play. If you're just based out of London, you don't have to pay for all of that. You simply sign up and you have your regular subscription, which to me, okay, that makes sense. But aside from the subscription, you also don't have to worry about how much it costs to upload reels, how much it costs to upload headshots and things like that. Now, the only thing I will say about Spotlight compared to the others that I've listed is that you do need professional credits in order to get accepted onto the platform. I was already accepted because I'm already a part of the SAG union, and I'm part of the SAG union because I have professional credits. I would say another one that's really good is not necessarily a casting platform per se, but it is important to have an IMDb Pro page once you get the ball rolling. There are some casting opportunities I've noticed on IMDb Pro. I haven't utilized this myself quite as much, but it's available. It's available, especially if you have the page, and it gives you a little bit more credibility in terms of being an actor. And it's a nice way to just upload your video, your headshots, and even have some of your contact information already out there. So if a casting director or anyone wants to network with you, all that information is right there. I would say don't get overwhelmed and sign up for every site at once. Pick 2 to 3 that you feel like would be the most prevalent for you and sign up. They have an option to where they can just send you emails for the different casting calls that may work with you or you may identify with the most. But also just be sure to log in daily, maybe a couple times a week, to make sure you're self-submitting. And that's really all it takes to get started. Those are like the main websites. I mean, I've had some crazy casting calls, some callbacks, but that's really where you find your bread and butter, is the auditions on these websites. And don't feel disheartened if you don't hear anything back, but it is always exciting once you do get a little bit of a callback. So overall, those are some of the casting websites that you can use to really get started, to start seeing auditions and even just get an idea of what's going to be coming out soon. That I think is the most fun thing for me, is being a little nosy and seeing like, oh, they're casting for Narnia right now. Dang, I wish I was 3 to 5 years old, you know? It's just things like that. I know I think the Michael Jackson film that they're working on, they did some castings on there. So it's just really interesting to see like what's coming up movie wise. You get a little bit of insight before everyone else. And that's it, actors. These websites can really help you in terms of just getting started, getting your foot in the door, and making a difference for yourself. You would be surprised, like once you have all of your basic items for your acting package put together and you self-submit, you might get some really cool opportunities. And even if you don't get cast for something, even if you don't hear much back, that one time is so important. Not only that, but it's so incredibly exciting. So it's one of those things, regardless of whatever the outcome is, you have to give yourself a pat on the back, because that's in itself, that's what the industry is. That's what acting is. A lot of it is just trying to get the audition. You can do classes, you can do workshops, you can network, but it all really boils down to hopefully getting some auditions. Now, the next video I may make may be about the difference between an agent and a manager, both of which can also help in terms of getting you auditions. But let me know in the comments if you want a little bit more information or how to have really great audition tapes, if you want audition tips or anything like that. But thank you so much, guys, for sticking around and watching. Be sure to watch my next video, and I'll see you soon. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.